right. Just a reminder for everyone to silence your cell phones. We'll start with roll call.
Mayor Sherman.
Here.
Councilor Gorell.
Here.
Councilor Clint Cameron.
Here.
Councilor Lundstrom.
Here.
Councilor Spradlin.
Here.
Councilor Tyree.
Here.
Councilor White.
Here.
Good. Approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or changes to the agenda tonight? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve.
Move to approve the agenda of regular meeting February 27th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Spradlin.
Yes.
Councilor White.
Yes.
Councilor Clint Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Gorell.
Yes.
Councilor Tyree.
Yes.
Councilor Lundstrom.
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. Motion passes. Okay, and our approval of our minutes from our regular meeting of February 13th of 2023. Does anybody have any corrections or revisions? I would look for a motion to approve.
Move to approve regular meeting of February 13th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Lundstrom.
Yes.
Councilor Clint Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Tyree.
Yes.
Councilor Spradlin.
Yes.
Councilor White.
Yes.
Councilor Gorell.
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. Motion passes. Next, we have visitors and delegations. Citizen comments. Citizens are invited to speak to council on any item that does not have a public hearing scheduled. There's a 5-minute time limit per person unless otherwise noted by the mayor. And this is your only opportunity to address council. Does anybody have any citizen comments? All right, management. First, we have a public hearing. Ordinance number 899-23. I'm going to open the public hearing. And the staff report will come from Tyler Purvis.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening to Mayor and Council. So this is the reading for what we had spoken about, I believe about 6 weeks ago when it comes to amending sections of our land use code, just miscellaneous updates that we had gone through initially at our first reading. So this is essentially finalizing everything. Be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have anybody here for public testimony on this one? Okay. Any questions from council?
Nope.
All right, so I would look for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move to close the public hearing for ordinance number 899-23.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Tyree.
Yes.
Councilor Gorell.
Yes.
Councilor Clint Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor White.
Yes.
Councilor Spradlin.
Yes.
Councilor Lundstrom.
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. So then I would look for a motion to approve or deny on second reading. We have the second reading for ordinance number 899-23, amending sections 16-9-30, 16-6-60, 11-5-10, and portions of Appendix 16 of the Brush Municipal Code. Somebody.
I move we approve on second reading ordinance number 899-23 and ordinance amending section 16-9-30, 16-6-60, 11-5-10, and portions of Appendix 16 of the Brush Municipal Code.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Gorell.
Yes.
Councilor Lundstrom.
Yes.
Councilor White.
Yes.
Councilor Clint Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Spradlin.
Yes.
Councilor Tyree.
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. That motion passes. Next, we have a public hearing. I will go ahead and open the public hearing for ordinance number 900-23. Tyler again with the staff report.
All right, thank you again. So this one is what's going to be the final reading, but prior to that, this past week, Dan, our attorney, and I were buttoning up a couple things, and we spoke with the consultant who had initially helped my predecessor and a previous building inspector on elements of that. And a couple things were highlighted that, as I was going through it, I realized weren't in the first reading, and they were a formatting issue in the original document, but I didn't see them last time, so I take responsibility for that. But I spoke with Dan about it, and he said, he checked into the legal aspects, and he said you can make changes in between the first and second reading as long as those changes are clearly made known And so the updated document was provided to council, was it today, Miranda, that was given? And so with that, were just 5 elements that were actually added to this, but they were added so that they can be deleted, meaning that they're in our land use code, but they actually need to be removed from our land use code. And the reason being with all of those is simply because they're not relevant anymore. Building code changes, they're just not relevant whatsoever. I can go through each one of them if you like, otherwise we can just go forward, just let me know.
We have copies.
Tyler, this is Dan. I'm sorry to interrupt. I think we can make this change before second reading, but we probably need to make sure, one, it doesn't change the meaning of the ordinance, and 2, we'll probably have to explicitly list the language difference between the first and second reading.
Okay.
So we might not need to go through the reasons for every single change, but at least make a record of we want to change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. So to your first point, there is no change in the intent whatsoever. Like most updates, they have one reason or another, and as I mentioned, these are just not relevant anymore. They serve no purpose within the building code or within our land use code staying there. And then the second part of it, is that more council's call than my call, Dan?
Nope, sorry, my phone cut out just a little bit. Yeah, I heard there's no change in the intent of the ordinance, and I agree with you there. And then the second part, and then my phone cut out.
Oh.
Is the second part of what you said needed to get done, is that more council's doing than my own? As far as what they want to see happen?
Yeah, I believe there's only like 3 or 4, maybe 5 sections that need to be highlighted. So if we could just reference that section of the ordinance and read that portion.
Okay.
I think it can be done either way, Tyler. If you're more comfortable doing it, then we can have a counselor say, I move to approve as amended. I think that's satisfactory.
So we have the strikeout versions in front of us. Do you want us to read it, or Tyler to read it, or?
Just in an abundance of caution to make sure we're following the rules, I would like that.
Okay.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Do you have it, or do you want?
Go ahead.
Okay. So it looks like the first strikeout, struck out section? No.
Stricken?
Stricken. Stricken is section 18-2-30. Section 101.2, IBC section 101.2 scope, delete exception 2 in its entirety. IBC section 101.4.1 electrical, replace ICC electrical code with state adopted electrical code. And then IBC section 3401.3 compliance with other codes, delete International Property Maintenance Code and International Private Sewage Disposal Code, and delete ICC Electrical Code and insert in its place State Adopted Electrical Code. IBC Section 3410.2 applicability, insert the date of June 10th, 2005. And IBC Section P2603.5.1, insert in parentheses number of inches in 2 locations, close parentheses.
And just to clarify, because the first one said delete exception 2 in its entirety, if anyone was listening to this, they might think the rest of them aren't getting deleted, but all of those are being deleted. It just happens to say delete in its entirety.
Okay. So.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you for keeping us on track. Does anybody do we have anybody for public testimony? Does not look like we do. Does council have any further questions? Okay. Then I would look for a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for ordinance number 900-23.
Second.
As amended.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. So then I would look for a motion to approve or deny on second reading this ordinance.
And is this where we need to enter as amended?
As
Dan?
Oh,
Yes, please.
okay.
Oh, was it not last time? It's on me.
I move we approve on second reading ordinance number 900-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 18, Article 3 of the Brush Municipal Code regarding International Building Code as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. All right, that motion passes. And we have another, oh my goodness, another public hearing. I will open this public hearing, and Tyler Purvis will give us a staff report.
Yep, so this is for ordinance 901-23, amending chapter 18, article 3 of the Brush Municipal Code regarding the International Residential Code. And so this is just updates from what was initially approved, I think a year ago, a year and a half ago. It was adopted hook, line, and sinker, and it should have been refined a little bit, and so this is the refining that comes forward.
Okay. Do we have any members of the public who are here for public testimony? No. Okay, any questions from council? Okay, I would look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing for ordinance number 901-23.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. All right, now I would look for a motion to approve or deny on second reading this ordinance.
I move that we approve on second reading ordinance number 901-23, an ordinance amending chapter 18, article 3 of the Brush Municipal Code regarding International Residential Code.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Lindstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. All right, that motion passes. All right, we have another public hearing. I'm going to open this public hearing. The staff report from Tyler Purvis.
All right, so this is for the RV park standards, simply adopting these into our code. We have worked out with staff level, brought it to Planning Commission. Planning Commission recommended approval. Council has heard that. We brought that to first reading, so now we're here tonight to button this one up as well.
Good. Do we have anybody with public testimony? Nope. Any final questions from council? All right, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for ordinance number 903-23.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. All right. I would look for a motion to approve or deny this ordinance on second reading.
I move we approve on second reading ordinance number 903-23, an ordinance amending section 16-7-120 regarding recreational vehicle park standards.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. All right, next we have the first reading. I will look for a counselor to introduce this ordinance by title. 902-23.
Ordinance number 902-23, an ordinance amending chapter 18, article 412 of the Brush Municipal Code regarding plumbing code, fuel gas code, mechanical code, energy conservation code, fire code, existing building code, numbering building, antennas, hazardous building, housing, and building regulations.
Second.
Did you have anything to say about this one? Sorry, I should have started with
Oh,
that.
no worries. This is the first time this one's actually been brought in its full draft. This is the beast of one that covers all the different codes. And so, just like the other ones, but it took more time because there was so much there. We had to cross our Ts and dot our Is, make the necessary amendments. So, everything should be good as it goes forward.
All right, it has
That's it.
been introduced. So now I need a motion to approve on first reading.
I move that we approve on first reading ordinance number 902-23, an ordinance amending chapter 18, article 4-12 of the Brush Municipal Code regarding plumbing code, fuel gas code, mechanical code, energy conservation code, fire code, existing building code, numbering buildings, antennas, hazardous buildings, housing, and building regulations.
Second.
And then we needed to add and publish on that one.
And publish.
And publish. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Klink-Cameron,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Gural,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. Next we have another resolution, 2023-4. Monty Torres has a report on this one.
Okay, this is a resolution amending the amount imposed for emergency telephone charges or charge set forth in section 5-3-20 of the Brush Municipal Code. There's a copy of that in your packet. A little bit of background on this is that this is the 911 charges or surcharges that we have, and there's been a series of meetings between the different municipalities, the county commissioners, the comm center or comm board, the 911 board, and we've talked about how to move forward because there's a big shortage of funds that are generated. And so what happens is the county commissioners, they've got to absorb all of that. And so it's been getting more and more every year, so it's been getting a lot more expensive. And after a few different meetings, we finally settled on that we would all agree to move forward, the municipalities, move forward to increase the 911 funds. This surcharge is only going to go up by 25 cents, but there's automatic escalator in here that's been requested so that we can, over the next 10 years, continue going up till it's about $4. And the important part of this is this allows you to increase that rate, but then it takes another agreement for that the funds actually be turned over to the county and utilized. And so that's where one of the counselors in the past had asked about. There's other concerns we have in regards to 911, the ambulance service, things like that. We haven't forgotten about those, but that's going to come up in further discussions with the commissioners in the group. They're kind of separate items, but we understand the concerns, so we want to bring those up as well. So with this, we have brought this to council in the past, and so the council's had an opportunity to see this and gave direction to bring this back to for an action item. The one thing I do need to note is on the first page, paragraph 3. Actually, Dell found the typo. I think it was Dell. Someone found the typo. And where it says paragraph 3 says to an amount more than $4 or 10 years from the date, it should be amount not more than. So it can't go above that. And so Loranda, she's in the new copy, she does have that in there with that verbiage in there. So we're looking for an approval on this, and I believe Loranda was at Fort Morgan already approved theirs.
Yes.
And I think Wiggins has done theirs. Dell, Hill's done theirs. So we're just asking for approval on that so we can continue moving forward, and then more discussion to come when we get to the IGA and how the money's actually utilized.
Very good. So I would look for a motion from a councilor.
I move that we approve resolution number 2023-4, a resolution amending the amount imposed for emergency telephone charge set forth in section 5-3-20 of the Brush Municipal Code as amended in paragraph 3 recommended by staff.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Gural,
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. Motion passes. The next one, Joanne's not here, I'm guessing it's going to be you
I'll
again.
cover it. Next item is resolution number 2023-5, a resolution modifying rules and regulations for the collection and disposal of municipal solid waste by the city of Brush and establishing charges. This was discussed at the last meeting. Council asked for me to bring it back as an action item. A little bit of background on this is for our solid waste or our trash department and how they operate. It was brought to our attention that those reserves in that fund have been declining over the years, but with the inflation rates, the way they've been the last couple of years, we realized we needed to start addressing this fund. We also talked about this in our budget retreat. This is something that we're going to bring forward to the council, and Joanne ran through the numbers, and we have a few things. Inflation's high, but the replacement cost of trash trucks is going up as well. We got a couple of those in the next few years. They're on a rotational schedule, and we've tried in the past to refurbish some of those, but at some point we've got to start getting some newer trucks in there. And we also, over the last couple of years, I think it's been, we took a half-time position to a full-time position. It was just hard to find anyone who wanted to do the work half-time, so we went to full-time because the guys were getting busier and we were enhancing the recycling program. So those all collectively, the cost has gone up and our expenses have gone up, our revenues have been pretty flatlined, and so we need to bump this up. So as explained last time, this upcoming year, what's being requested is a 15% increase, and we also talked about the next 2 years being 10% increases, and spreading that out over a few years versus all at one time. The only thing that I didn't explain last time, I found this today and I talked to Joanne, on page 5 when it talks about the future 10% per year, it actually has 3 years. What we had presented last time was only 2 years at that additional 10%. So Joanne would be fine, she said, and it still works if we, on the page 5, on paragraph 1, where it says for years 2024, 2025, and 2026, raising at that 10%, just striking the 2026, because that's not what we had originally discussed. It's going to just be 2 more years. So that is here for the council's consideration. One other item that was changed is on page 4 on special collections. In the past, we used to have a kind of a flat rate for special collections, but then the landfill, they actually determine what the rates are for pickup. So it's now, like for instance, motor vehicles, cost determined by the current Morgan County landfill fee schedule, so that we just have theirs and we may add some labor to it. So that is one other change that she wanted to point out. So that is for council's consideration.
All right. So I would look for a motion on this one.
I move we approve resolution number 2023-5. A resolution modifying rules and regulations for the collection and disposal of municipal solid waste by the city of Brush and establishing charges as amended.
Second.
So any discussion?
Question. So we originally talked about it being a 45% increase over the 3 years?
3 years.
And so it's going down to a 35% increase over 2 years? Well, it's
Just
15, a 10, and a 10. That's 35%, right?
I think it's just 10 and 10.
Just 2 10s.
Just 2
We're
10s?
striking one of them.
Okay.
Yep. So 10% each year, 2024 and 2025. All right, anybody else? All right, roll call vote.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Counselor Lundstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. That motion passes. All right, next we have Dale Colbert.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. In your packet, you should have seen an external memo from GDS Hydro and on our water tank painting. We received 2 bids. One of them was from Classic Protective Coatings, and the second one was from TMI Coatings. TMI was the one who did our east tank last. And that was right around $900,000. We was really sticker shocked. We thought it was going to be more like $450,000. So we put out for bids. We received 2. Both were determined to be complete. We had the one from Protective Coatings, Classic Protective Coatings, for $788,858. And then we had the one from TMI, which was $866,400. So, looking over everything, the recommendation is to give it to Classic Protective Coatings in the amount of $788,858. Any questions? And we had $990,000 budgeted, so we're coming in fairly significantly, a little over $200,000 less than what we budgeted. So,
Very good.
very fortunate.
What did the last one run us, just out of curiosity?
It was right around $900,000.
Was it really?
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we'd actually went out and looked and asked different companies, hey, what would it cost to do this years ago? And that's where we came up with like about $450,000. And so when TMI was the only bidder with a $900,000 bid, that was kind of set us back a little bit.
Sure.
How much is this one? 700.
$788,858.
Okay. Thank you, Dale. I would look for a motion on this one.
I make a motion to award the water tank painting project per Dale's recommendation.
Second.
Any discussion? So that is to Classic Protective Coatings. Roll call vote?
Counselor Lundstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Tyree?
Yes.
Counselor Clint Cameron?
Yes.
Counselor White?
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin?
Yes.
Counselor Garrell?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. That motion passes. All right, Dale Klarick again for the ratification of CDOT Phase 4 grant letter.
Thank you, Mayor. As you may be aware, I-76 over the last decade or so has been going through some construction and reconstruction, and there's 2 phases to this I-76 construction that is left. One of them is Phase 4, which we know out here. It's by Brush Livestock out on the hill. It's that exit where 6 and 76 meet. And the other one would be the main street, or exit 80 in Fort Warren, which is Phase 5. Unfortunately, funds have dried up that have been there in the past, and so CDOT's always looking for grant funding and such, and they came across another federal grant program, and in that they are looking for community support, and there was a deadline on that letter of last week, so we went ahead and drafted the letter of support and had the mayor sign it, and so we're asking council to ratify it this meeting. Any questions, comments?
All right, I would look for a motion on this one.
Will we ratify CDOT Phase 4 grant letter?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor White?
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin?
Yes.
Counselor Lundstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Garrell?
Yes.
Counselor Clint Cameron?
Yes.
Counselor Tyree?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes.
Okay.
That
Thank you.
motion
No
passes.
guarantee that we'll get the grant, but you know the answer is no
You
if
gotta
you don't
try.
ask.
Yeah,
So-
we don't try.
Very good, thank you, Dale. All right, next we have Monty Torres with another ratification.
Okay, in your packet, there's a letter from the mayor to Clifford Monroe, and and Jessica Harris. But those 2 individuals, they're a point of contacts for us to exercise a first right of refusal on a water share. And it's the water share in the Morgan Ditch Company. It's a water share that we look for, that works well for us in our augmentation plan and some further projects that we're looking at doing. And what happens is when someone from outside that ditch system decides that they're gonna purchase a water from someone who owns it in the ditch system, the current ditch system shareholders have a first right of refusal to match it. So this is matching at $35,000 for one share. And our understanding is that more than one first right of refusal has been sent in so far. So in that case, I believe they're going to do a raffle And so they're gonna just put all of those who are interested in it to match it, and then they'll pull a name out, and that person will be able to purchase the water share. So we had to move on this pretty quickly, so we got this done. And in these situations, I always ask for the, get the mayor's signature, and then ask for the council to ratify it after the fact. What's here for ratifying?
Is there a chance, could somebody go in and offer more than the matching?
My understanding is it's supposed to be the same amount.
Okay.
Everyone has to match it.
Very good.
But we're gonna double check that.
So I'd look for a motion on this one.
Move we ratify the letter to exercise right of first refusal on the water share.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Corral,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor Clint Cameron,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. That motion passes. All right, next we have an executive session. I'll look for a motion to enter into executive session.
I'll make a motion to enter executive session.
You gotta
Do you want to do
read.
the whole thing?
Yep.
Pursuant to CR Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6-402, subsection 4, subsection E, for determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategies for negotiations, and instructing negotiators. The matter to be discussed is the school resource officer agreement.
All right.
Second.
Oh. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Corral,
Yes.
Counselor Clint Cameron,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. All right, so we're going to executive session. Do we want to stand here or go? Okay, so we need an announcement from our attorney, Dan Krob.
All right, thank you, Mayor. My name is Dan Krob. I'm the town attorney. I'll note for the record, we're just coming out of executive session. The time is now, 7:31 p.m. The scope of the discussion was within the scope of the statute, and as attorney, the attorney-client privilege attaches. Sorry about that.
All right, so we need a motion just for the direction for the letter and the.
Okay. So that's the one that we talked, no, motion for the letter. Okay.
The direction for Monty and Dan.
Oh, I move that staff, being Monty and Dan Krob, city attorney, move forward with the letter as discussed.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Lundstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. All right, and then do we have any other motions to come out of that?
I move to accept the termination of the IGA with the Brush School District for the SRO program despite not receiving the 30-day written notice per section 30 of the contract.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a statement that I would like to make on that motion. While I did make this motion to accept the termination of the IGA, I did so because I believe that the situation has become untenable and I do not believe things can continue as they are. I have faith in our council and our staff and our police department as we move forward.
And I would just like to say that we're all very disappointed in the outcome of this and what's occurred. Our highest priority is obviously the safety of our kids. Per their termination letter, we're confident that there was not a lack of responsiveness on our part, and we do have documentation to prove it. I had organized subcommittee meetings with a couple members of the school board and the school superintendent and our city administrator, and it didn't seem that the rest of the school board got any information from any of those meetings. We, as a council, have complete confidence in our city administrator and our attorney, and they have acted on the direction of our council. And we're also confident in our police department being able to continue to work with the school district to keep the kids safe. And we will be releasing another official response at a later date. So, roll call vote.
Counselor Lundstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. All right, finance.
I move we approve disbursements and payroll for February 14th through February 27th, 2023, totaling $307,911.01.
Second.
Roll call vote. Any discussion? No, roll call vote.
Counselor Klinkhammer,
Yes.
Counselor Tyree,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin,
Yes.
Counselor Lundstrom,
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. Next we have staff reports. Tyler Purvis, our Assistant City Administrator.
All right, just three things. The first one, simply that kudos to you guys for getting to the letter O on council management items tonight. Give someone a fist bump tonight. The second one, our brush stakeholders meeting today, we met again, and among other things that we talked about was childcare. And so talking about different ideas on addressing childcare within the community. And so sometime probably in the near future, just an FYI, that staff will probably be coming to council to request funding designated for some future childcare project that we're working on. So let's keep it vague for now, unless Monty wants to speak more about it later in his staff report or now.
Yeah, the next time that we bring this up, we'll probably have a dollar figure and a potential project, and part of that is maybe a partnership with the school in regards to this child care and some pilot programs that we talked about earlier today. We also talked about kids at their best, maybe being a partner in that. So we're just trying to figure out which direction to go. But in order to do this, we have to figure it out in the next few weeks because you need time to coordinate something like this and also to advertise it.
Correct. And then the last thing was, there's a service out, if anybody in the community is not aware, called Bustang. It was put on by CDOT. It rolled out toward the end of last year, and we got an update today at the meeting from the representative for that from NECALG. And they haven't had a whole lot of participation from the community, not just Brush, but all the different stops for that. And so what it is this specific Bustang program is designed for rural areas. And they have 2 lines that run throughout the week from Sterling down to Union Station on Tuesdays and Thursdays and back. So Sterling to there in the morning and then back to Sterling in the evening. And then Sterling to Greeley on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And so Brush is a stop on each one of those. And it goes from Sterling, Marino, Hillrose, Fort Morgan, Log Lane Village, Wiggins, Keensburg, Brighton, Aurora, and then Denver itself. And then the Greeley route, all the way the same up until Wiggins, and then 3 stops in Greeley, the Greeley Hospital, the Medicare, or Medic Center, and then the Greeley Evans Transit. And so just an opportunity for the community to get from point A to point B, or even from here to Fort Morgan, or here to Wiggins, or anywhere in between. So again, it leaves about 7:30ish in the morning and comes back about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So a good opportunity. As an example for cost on that, the standard fare from Brush to Denver Union Station would be $18. From Brush to Greeley would be $14. If someone wanted to go from Brush to Fort Morgan, it'd be just a $2 ride. So if they're looking for access or transportation and can't get it, just wanted to bring that out to the community. So we said that we'll help support that program so people in the community are aware of it.
Can we put that on our social media?
Yep, that's one of our to-dos.
Okay.
Yep.
Heather, real quick on that. I know that they had made an announcement a long time ago about when they do the new park and ride over at Exit 92, that there was going to be more multiple buses and stops and going to the airport and stuff. Did they talk a little bit more about that too, or no?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. I'm actually not aware of what you're speaking about.
Well, yeah, originally they were gonna stop there, but I guess they chose the library for their stop in
Oh, I didn't mention that. Yeah, libraries. Is that one of the same that Scott's talking about?
No, because they were going to be part of the park and ride.
This is the support letter we did tonight, the one that we ratified, but that support letter for some grant funding for CDOT, that's one of the pieces of it. They wanted to put in a type of a park and ride out there in that area. And my understanding, it's, if someone wants to meet up and they can park there and take 1 car to Denver versus 2, or if there's a workforce that needs to get together and 5 cars parked there and jump in a van, that was going to be the purpose of that one.
Okay. Very good.
All right, that's all I got.
Thank you, Tyler. Brandon Flecksteiner, our interim chief of police.
Council, Mayor. So we actually got good news. Officer Jared Barham is actually going to be back on shift starting the 1st. So
Awesome.
He's been out since September, so we get him back, which is a benefit, and we're very happy to have him. He's beyond ecstatic to be able to get back to work. He's been telling pretty much everybody in the police department he's going to be coming back. The other side I wanted to hit on is if you're aware of the hoax that happened basically in Colorado last week. A lot of school districts across the state received a bunch of phone calls from somebody basically doing a swatting call in the schools. We didn't specifically get one in Brush, but in response to that, we did have officers respond to all 3 schools in the town just to make sure that there wasn't a miscommunication regarding where that actually happened. We had officer go to the secondary campus specifically, and then the other officer went to both other schools just to make sure everything was fine. Good response on our part, so I thought we had a good response with the school district, and they're very open and getting things situated. In light of that particular thing, it brought to an occasion of showing how committed we are to the school district itself. We have between August 22nd till just this last Friday, just pulled some numbers up to see where we're at. Between the 3 schools, we have up to 306 calls for service, just responding to the 3 schools. Those call for services range anywhere from extra patrols to juvenile problems. The vast majority of those were actually self-initiated, so there were some occasional calls where we were dispatched to them, but the majority of them were community policing and extra patrols where we were making the active approach to go to the schools and just to do walkthroughs and do different things like that to make sure it's safe there. So.
Can you just note that you'll continue to do those?
Correct. Yeah, we are completely 100% committed, despite the IGA being canceled. I'm completely 100% committed to maintaining a good relationship with the schools, because I think it's a benefit for the children for us to have a good working relationship with the school district, because I hate to say, heaven forbid something does bad happen, to be able to have that good cohesive unity between the school district and the police department. That way we know if something happens and we know how everybody's going to respond and how to get through that kind of stuff.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, Chief. Chief.
Sorry.
If you can't say anything about this, don't, but I got multiple calls today about like 4 or 5 stolen cars.
We didn't have any specifically in Brush. I know Fort Morgan did have 2 steals yesterday as well as 1 this morning.
Okay.
On the side note was something I forgot to mention. The State Patrol and would be more Eastern Lyman area have actually put together a task force to battle motor vehicle theft issues. Motor vehicle theft has become a very prominent issue in the state, pretty much all over the place. So in light of them starting the task force in that subsection, they actually reached out to this Northeast region, so we're actually in a position of hopefully getting an MOU set up with them to hopefully get something kind of working as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I had 4 calls today on that, and I had no clue what they were talking about. So.
Yeah, as I said, we didn't have any specifically in Brush, but I know Fort Morgan had a few just within the last day and a half.
Cool, thank you.
Sure.
Lance Schwint, Director of Community Services.
All right. I just wanted to get back with council on the tennis courts. Paul Acosta had came in here, I think it was the first or second meeting of January. And after that, I was kind of directed to go research costs, what it would be to build 2 additional courts so that we would be able to have competition over there at the Pettis Park. Along with that, the fixing of a couple of the other courts, because we do have the tiles on there right now, and that's not really quality surface to actually be doing competitions on. With that, I talked to Renner Sports. It's a company that we used in the past, and it was crazy because we've had those tiles for like 8 or 9 years. And the last time we resurfaced the courts were probably 15, 16 years ago. Well, the same salesman's there, so I mean, he knew exactly what we were talking about and all that sort of thing. But I did get a preliminary price to build 2 additional tennis courts, and that price was $225,000, and that would include the fencing plus the 2 courts. And then to resurface the courts that we already have would be an additional $29,000. I didn't do anything with the lighting at that point. I've talked to Musco Lighting, and they're willing to give us an estimate, but it would be more of just an upgrade of the system if we keep things at Pettis Park. So with that being said, I also reached out to the United States Tennis Association, and they have grant funding available for that. And I'm going to introduce Diane here in a second. She's with the Eastern Colorado chapter of the United States Tennis Association, and so she's supporting our projects and everything like that. But when I reached out to them, they sent me their grant opportunities. They do have a matching grant that for up to $25,000 that would be for this project right here. One thing as we move forward with this being to allow the school district to host competitive tennis, I was going to relay this to the school district and also try to attend one of their meetings to see if they would be interested in partnering with a project like this that will benefit both the city and the school district. On the city's end, we would be more than happy to apply for the grant and do whatever we can fundraising wise moving forward. it would just be have to ask the city, the school district, if they'd be willing to help fund a little bit more of the project also. One other thing just to keep note is that we are in the middle of another project over there at Prairie Trails Park, so trying to divide our funds too thin sometimes is tough. There is, however, that we could eventually go ask the foundation, but I think the school district's budget season is June to June, so it'd be good to kind of get an answer from them before we go into our budget season, because this would be a 2024 project. So we still have plenty of time that we can kind of, again, come back and meet and talk a little bit about fundraising and different ideas to raise those funds. But the bottom line is those tennis courts aren't great for competition. The foundation is falling apart under the original ones. 2 additional courts would be great to have, but again, it all comes down to money and funding and that sort of thing. One other thing I'd like for you guys to think about as we move forward too is with 4 courts, is that the best location? I mean, if we put 2 additional courts there, that means that we would be cutting down several trees and everything, moving it to that area. Is there some additional land within the city that this might be a better opportunity? So just some other things to think about before making a rash decision or anything, but just wanted to come to you and kind of give you the initial cost estimate, and then what my plan of attack is moving forward as far as discussion with the school district.
How much are the tennis courts utilized by the community?
You know, they're utilized. When I'm over at the golf course, and my wife and I, we play tennis probably once a week, and so and there are people there. We never have to wait for someone to get off the tennis court, so I wouldn't say they're overly used, but there are people there that do utilize them.
I see people there a lot.
Yeah.
I was going to piggyback on Justin then. So having 2 more courts, I mean, if that one doesn't give
It
us that
would
much
purely be for the to be able to have the tournaments here.
turns for the school.
Mhm.
So if they're not willing to pitch in on it, I mean, that's.
What's, excuse my ignorance, because I drove by them, but I don't remember exactly what they are. Across from the ball field, is that tennis courts?
Those are basketball.
Basketball courts, okay.
Well, a little bit of the history of the whole thing was when I first was here many moons ago, before the new school was built. The school actually had a tennis court on their property and everything, and tennis was there. And the city had the Pettis Park tennis courts and the Sunset Park tennis courts. We had tennis courts at both. During the mid-90s, tennis wasn't being done as much, and the foundation was very pro-basketball. So the foundation had us change the Sunset tennis courts into all basketball courts, because those used to be tennis.
Because they looked like tennis courts
Yeah,
to me.
and
Just
they-
like driving by,
they used to
I
be
had it in my
tennis.
head they were tennis courts, but I never really paid attention.
I don't know if there was much of a foundation at the old high school ones, if I remember correctly. It was pretty.
No, there was.
pretty rough.
Yeah, they were in pretty bad shape by the time they pulled them out.
So let me ask you this though, logistically, and this might be a better question for Paul. Would it be feasible, instead of building 2 more tennis courts, to make it to where the Sunset courts could be utilized for tennis temporarily for like a tournament purpose?
They would, but the school would not be able to host one because CHSA requires 4 courts.
So they have to be 4 courts altogether, and not 2 here and 2 there? Or is it only
Well,
one at
those have
Sunset?
basketball poles right in the middle of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I should drive by and look at it
Yeah.
before I ask too many more questions.
That's, Fort Morgan, they're kind of dealing with the same thing, if I remember, am I right, Diane? That their courts, their high school courts are cracking really bad. So, it's getting more and more difficult to play tennis there also. They just built 2 other courts there at Optimist, the Optimist Park, and they built some pickleball courts. So they get quite a bit of use there between pickleball and tennis, but that's kind of where we're at right now. I would say it is, whether we do 2 more courts or not, I think it is something, especially with it being in Pettis Park, that this might be something the foundation would like to do something with the foundation and make those two courts playable and usable. And the worst scenario for the school would be they would have two quality courts, but they would just have to travel for the tournaments.
They'd probably be willing to put, from what Dr. Wilson has told me, is do 2 more courts over behind what's the Beaver Valley on their property out there.
Okay. So there's another location that I didn't even think of. I was thinking middle school property or
Yeah, he told me that he thought we were going to use that property, but I didn't ever get any confirmation on that. So, will you take this and present this to the school board? Or
I would
what's your
like to.
plan?
I would
Okay, that
like
would be great.
I'd like to write a letter to them first to let them know that I'm coming, so it's not a surprise or anything when I show them the sticker price and all that. But I would like to do that, and I would also. I know the United States Tennis Association has been very helpful with our youth programs, giving us donations for tennis rackets and tennis balls and all that. And with some of their backing and everything, it would be good to help with fundraising, also programming, because if we did generate more interest, then, you know, we might be able to get the funds needed to do something with the courts.
You might remind the school district they have a giant empty lot where a school used to be.
Yeah.
They can make plenty of parking and a few tennis courts there.
Do you have a recommendation for where we would put 4 new courts if we were to build?
Well, just like Justin said, I guess if we put 4 new courts on, I think the middle school property is actually a really good place, to be honest with you.
I don't know that they're willing to do that, though.
Yeah, I just
It
don't
doesn't
know if they
sound like
want
they're-
that.
Yeah.
Beaver Valley, again, that's another good spot.
And even if we just did 2 there, it's not that far from Pettis
Yeah.
Park. We could still do
Yeah,
that.
Beaver Valley, because then it's only just right across the street. I don't like the idea of putting 2 additional on Pettis Park, because I think those are just really nice trees that we have. I mean, granted, and probably in the big scheme of things, it's not that big a deal. But if we get those 2 courts looking really, really nice, and then we could build 2 other courts off-site, then, you know, we'd still be able to handle both things.
And you've sat here patiently for 2 hours now.
Oh.
Would you like to share
Yes,
anything?
this is Miss Diane. Yes. You want to? Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, don't be. So.
I start talking and.
I have you to see how this whole time and then not be able to.
Well, yeah, I'm here to support Lance in his endeavor. It's a big project, it's a big ask, but we've done it before. I don't know, I shouldn't assume that you all know what the United States Tennis Association is. The USTA is the National Not-for-Profit Tennis Association. It's the governing body of tennis throughout the country. We own and operate the U.S. Tennis Open that you see every year on TV in September. Pro tennis all around the world. 70% of all the profits that come in go to growing grassroots tennis throughout the country. USTA is, the national office is in White Plains, New York. There's divided into 17 sections of the country, so we're in the Colorado section, obviously, district. And I work with them as almost like a field rep. And I can tell you, well, our office is in Denver, but I don't live in Denver, I live in Grover. And the Denver office for all of Colorado, honestly, they're really excited about getting tennis going here in eastern Colorado, because obviously so much of the money goes to Boulder, where all the big tennis is. So they're really happy about that. I work pretty much specifically with school tennis, and had the pleasure of meeting Lance and Paula Costa, who's the high school coach. Currently, last year we granted a really nice tennis equipment package to Beaver Valley School. It's on a big package with balls, rackets, nets. It's in a roller bag, and also to Brush Middle School. And Lance has an equipment package as well. And all the Fort Morgan schools have one. So tennis is definitely on the rise. through the school. So what happens is typically we go in and team up with the PE teachers and have a tennis play day in PE. And a lot of the kids are interested, and then they can continue to play out at their park. So, or wherever that might be. I assume you've all seen the tennis courts you have now and the shape they're in. So it's not an easy place to get the kids out to play with the courts the way they're looking now. And I know Lance has a summer program coming up, but yeah, once the kids are interested in their school tennis, we really would like to have a nice place for them to continue to play without having to go to Fort Morgan, and that's kind of what's happening now. So we hope to be able to contribute with grant money, and our office in Denver is totally behind this project. And the money would come from the USTA National Office, up to $25,000, but our district office in Denver can definitely help with more as well. So I know it's a long project, but we'll get there, and just here to ask for your support in that as well going forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions or no? No? Okay.
One thing I'd like to mention too, the high school tennis team and Paul's group, plus our crew, you know, I don't know if anybody drove by there, but over the last couple of weeks there was 2 or 3 feet of snow. And I know Paul had his tennis team out there over the weekend, and then our crew went over there and finished it up today, so they were actually able to practice on the tennis courts tonight. So kudos to our crew and kudos to the girls' tennis team. So I'd like to thank them.
I have a question for you, Lance. Is the school team just a girls' team?
It's just girls.
Yeah.
So I guess one thing that I would like to see, especially from our rec department, if the school's not going to do it, is that we encourage our male students as well to be playing tennis. It's a problem that we continuously run into, especially like myself as a mother of sons, where, oh, that's a girl's sport, like volleyball. I'm like, really? Because there's male athletes in you know, the Olympics that play volleyball. So, and same with tennis, right? You have obviously very famous male tennis players. And so I really would like to see us encouraging both genders to be playing if we're going to be putting money forward.
And we do, for the summertime, ours is a co-ed program. I believe the school, part of the decision they had to make was over Title IX, where they had to have equal sports offered for girls as boys. And so tennis was offered to get them in compliance with Title IX.
I would just like to see our rec department do what we can to
Yeah.
make sure that we're really encouraging that and really bolstering that program for all of the kids.
We'll do that.
Yeah, for summer, we plan to have team tennis, which is co-ed as well.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
That's all I have.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks
Yes,
for being
thanks for
patient.
coming out.
Yeah, sorry it's been such a long week.
Bill Colrick, Director of Public Works.
He was used to it being a long meeting.
Yes, that's because I make them long meetings. Just 2 things I just want to bring up with this balmy weather that we've had here recently. Got a lot of melting going on, and so there's a lot of water out there, some ice dams and the like, and with the temperature changes, the freeze and the thaw, we're getting a lot of potholes. And so I'm sure you've been approached and will continue to be approached about a pothole or an ice dam somewhere. The best thing that I can suggest is make sure they just call City Hall and get a work order put in on it, because I've been getting direct calls into my little cubicle, and I'm very far removed from being able to do that. So this way there's a paper trail. It can be monitored, and we can keep it in check. So that's pretty much all I have for right now until work session.
I wanted to say thank you. I don't know if it was you or if it was someone else, but for staying on top of the Excel gas issue that we had this last week and making sure citizens were informed. I'm not sure who was responsible on the city page for that.
Maybe it was police department.
Was it you? Whoever posted, thank you to staff, because that was chaos. I don't know if council is familiar, but we had some,
Oh yeah, I had to evacuate my building for 2 hours. And
yeah.
You know how
And
many
it-
kind of
It was a nice break,
nightmare
but-
that was for me
At
today.
night during the lunch hour of alcohol, so I was like,
It would have been nice if it was
Guys,
warm
out at 9
outside.
o'clock at night. So
I bet I had 40 phone calls, and I couldn't turn any of them down.
Yeah.
Because even when you say, "Hey, they had a leak," you got to go check it.
You do.
You cannot just say, you don't got nothing wrong." So
So thank you to everyone that was
Deal.
out checking those, police department, fire department. I'm sure everybody had to be busy on that one, so good job on everyone for that.
yeah.
Thank you, Dale. Lorraine, the Bedford City Clerk.
Just a couple things to bring up. First of all, just a reminder, Kids at Their Best, they're having the fundraiser April 8th out at the fairgrounds. And if anybody wants to go, just let me know and I can RSVP to them. And then CML conference registration is now open, just reminding you on that. The sooner we can get your registration in, the better. And then another reminder on the electronic stipend form at your place tonight. If you haven't turned that in, please make sure you do so by the end of tonight or even next meeting. And then also the audiovisual update. We had significant issues at last meeting with the sound, and it did not record the sound. Tonight, I believe we're recording just fine. When we went back to check on things at executive session, it doesn't appear that our YouTube channel was picking up the streaming signal for tonight. So I don't know that we're streaming live, but we can at least get the recording on, hopefully tomorrow. That's all I have.
Do we need to, who do we have as our IT? Do we need a different IT people working on our audio visual?
The
or we
school
just need to-
district is managing all of our audiovisual, and we are, keep in mind, we're in the process of changing everything out and getting everything to where it's hopefully plug and play. The YouTube channel streaming is one thing that I plan to discuss with them. And, just doing our best to safeguard against these little hiccups, these little things that just keep happening.
Well, if we need to, maybe we should.
I just want to advise that YouTube is streaming currently.
Is it? Oh,
It
okay.
is.
Thank
Okay,
you.
very good, thank you.
If we need to, maybe we should start talking about some kind of a budget line item just to hire or bring in a tech company instead of outside of the school district, and just maybe.
And I think we have that
do it
in our
once over.
budget, in our upgrades from this year, right?
And the school district has a list of things that they would recommend that we do.
Okay.
And they've provided that to me with an estimate on what that would cost. And so we're definitely proactive in trying to get this resolved as quickly as possible.
Cool.
Thank you very much. Dan Cobb, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I don't have anything, but I'm happy to answer any questions I can help you with.
Thank you for being there. I don't think, does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Monty Torres, City Administrator.
Just one item for the council to be aware of, our water advisory meeting. Loranda's working on that now, and I'm thinking it's probably gonna end up on the 7th of March, 1 p.m. That's our target, and that's just to run all the different water projects and any issues that we have through them, and then keep them apprised, and then probably in the next couple, 3 months, we'll do another update to council on our water project. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Mayor and Council reports. Does anybody have anything?
Multiple citizen comments on why do we still have Christmas decorations up. We are 2 days from March 1st.
They've been working on them.
They're working on them.
I know.
Come on, Dale, say it again.
All right. A lot of it had to do with weather. Some of them were frozen in, and to try to remove them from them, icebergs would destroy them and damage them. Plus, with a snowstorm coming in every Wednesday, there's, it's just like, okay, do you remove the Christmas decorations or do you clean the streets?
Yeah.
And so our crews have been out cleaning a lot of streets, ice dams, trying to fix some potholes. And Christmas decorations were just really not up there on the high priority list, but especially when it comes to public safety and the ice and getting drainage going, so, and getting that snow removed. So, public
Appreciate it, Dale.
safety took priority.
I do have a question on that.
Sure.
They removed the lights from the trees. Is there a new plan for that, or are we going
Yes,
to be?
yes, we actually have a container over by the bullpen that has some old Christmas decorations that was donated to the city, I believe from Castle Rock back in the 80s. And since then, Xcel Energy has new requirements of engineering any of these decorations we put up on poles. Plus, you cannot put them on any transmission poles. They're heavy and they're rotting. And so we're going to clean all those out, recycle the metal, and then we'll take that tree and we'll put it in there. So we took the lights off just so it looks like a tree.
Oh, no, I mean like the lights that were on all the live trees.
Oh, right. I think those got probably put back downstairs at 304 Clayton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'll have to check, but with, we had a contractor come in and start trimming some trees, and we didn't want to damage them.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking, because I thought we were going to leave those on, but I knew that there was some tree trimming coming, so I was hoping that was what.
Plus, we've had some issues with some of those outlets and those tree wells. I still cannot convince people to stop throwing the snow on the trees.
Oh.
There's electrical down there, and it puts themselves at risk.
That makes sense.
So,
I don't know if Monty talked to you or not about Cambridge, the bridge at Cambridge in 34.
Oh, the, like metal starting to show through.
Monty doesn't love me, doesn't listen to me, so I'll just go and tell you.
we got some rebar popping through.
Yeah,
It happens on occasion. We'll get out there. I'll get a work order in on that.
Okay.
A lot of it's going to be weather dependent, so what we are doing right now is with asphalt, we'll probably asphalt it back in because the weather's just not conducive to closing that intersection down for 24 or 48 hours while concrete sets.
Gotcha.
Route sets. So
I'll let him know.
very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dale.
Yeah.
Right. Any other counselors?
So, I got something I kind of want to just get maybe at the next meeting, get an update on. After watching the school board meeting a couple meetings ago, it doesn't seem like they're real in a big hurry to do the traffic study for the South Road. And I would kind of like to just see where that's going. I think it just needs to move forward at this point, and we need to make a decision on what we're going to do with it, because they've had plenty of time, in my opinion, to get the traffic study done before. One of their reasonings was because of all the traffic going down Mill Street now because of the highway project. And if anything, I think that might be a good reason to do a traffic study at that time, given that, you know, we might have more traffic there eventually with the addition, subdivision, and possibly an apartment complex going up. So I think we might just need to put that on the next meeting and figure out what we're going to do there and just move forward with it and just
I agree.
Just put our foot down, and we've kicked that can down the road plenty long enough. I think we did it in good faith, thinking it would move forward, and it's just not moving forward. So
We'll have Tyler double check with the engineers and the school district, and then we'll come back with a report.
okay, thank you.
Lonnie, I believe that we lost the fire chief during our executive session, but I believe we're supposed to be getting a training center in the next week or two.
Last I heard was towards the end of March. And so, but we've had other dates too, so we'll see where we'll see where it ends. But it is paid for, so we're just waiting for the delivery of it.
It's probably those weekly snowstorms.
Yeah, I
Slowing
talked to Tad about it. It's been a little while ago, and it just wasn't weather conducive. You know, where they're wanting to put it and stuff. It was kind of a mud hole.
I just heard it was coming, so I was pretty
Yeah.
excited.
But I think he's pretty excited about
We
it.
need to check on, make sure the secondary containment and everything for the water, that's installed as well.
Cool.
I had an update from the people that talked about the feral cats for the last meeting. One of them reached out. One of them that wasn't here reached out because one of us had asked how many cats had been caught and released, and so it was 60 cats in 2022. So
Cool.
that's that. That's all I had.
I'd like to say it's nice to see all of us here.
I know, it's nice to
Except for
have a
Dan.
full table.
Except for Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Give him count, though, he's Dan.
too.
Way to kill the buzz, Dan.
That's what I'm in Hawaii, so. I miss you guys too, but I don't miss the snow.
He's gotta get the fuzzy lizards.
That's where the bird was coming from.
That's a little jungle or something after a minute.
All right, so if there's nothing else, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. We will
Thanks for hanging out so long.
move into our work session.
Yeah, well, an hour.
And there's Dale making the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam.
I have